Welcome back to Four Faces. I got some bad news to tell you. And remember I told you last year, if any firing's going on, I'm going to let you know. Well, guess what? Unfortunately, I'm here to let you know. Google, yes, Google, one of the biggest companies out there, tech companies out there, they getting ready to lay off. By the way, it's January 2023. They getting ready to lay off 12,000 workers. Yes, you heard me right, 12,000 workers. That's 6% of their whole entire workforce. This is crazy. So you might be saying why? Well, the reason why, according to the CEO, is that things are slowing down, right? A lot of companies, not just the Googles and the Microsoft, right? But a lot of these companies are saying, listen, the orders are slowing down. People is not buying as much, right? Because why? They say we're facing a possible recession. I believe personally we're already there, right? We have had a couple of business cycles where profits wasn't where they're supposed to be. So if you want my opinion, I think we're already contracting and it's already here. Recession to me is already here. But nevertheless, these companies are estimating that customers, I should say, going to start pulling back, not buying as much as they used to. That's a problem because you got to remember, at a time when we had the COVID, a lot of these tech companies were hiring like crazy. They was hiring techs, customer service, etc. Because people was buying computers, they was bringing them to the houses, they were doing work at home. You get the point. But now things are starting to get a little rough, and people are trying to pay their mortgage, they're trying to pay their bill, their gas, electric. You get the point. So when that happens, people are not buying. And don't forget, we also have what? The Federal Reserve. They increased the rates. Remember, before the interest rates was way below 2%. I'm talking about from the base point line. It was below that. Then they've jumped all the way up to now at 4.5%. And now in February, in February, which is next month, they talking about increasing it again by 0.5%. So you're talking about a total of about 5%. That's crazy. I mean, you know where we're going with that, right? If you got high interest rates, guess what? People don't borrow money. People don't borrow money. You know, this country is based on debt. So now, all is not lost, right? Because keep in mind, even though a lot of tech companies are laying off a massive amount of people, we're talking about in the thousands, right? Here's the thing. The good side of it is that, at least in America, you know, unemployment is still very low. We're talking about 3.5%, right? That's still very low. If you go outside of the country, like France, it might be a little bit high because in France, unemployment, at least of last year, was 7%, right? If you go to England, it's like 3.1, 3.7%. Switzerland's like 2.1% based on last year's numbers. Now, that's a good thing in the sense that there's a chance for you, obviously, to get another job. So my advice at this point in time would be make sure you get a great reference letter, a referral, I should say. Make sure that your supervisor or whoever your boss were put down something nice for you. That way your chances, obviously, of getting another job is extremely well. And you include that in your resume. So I believe that in general, even though these are a lot of tech layoffs, I still believe that most of you are going to be pretty okay, pretty fine. However, with that being said, let's look at the economic indicators. So, because that's very important to see what's coming up in the future. Now, keep in mind, it's not just like, like Microsoft, Apple, and, like Google, right? There's other companies that's also forecasting a massive amount of layoffs. There are a lot of companies, especially even companies in the financial industry. They also got their rounds of layoffs, and I talked about that last year. Make sure you look at a couple of videos from last time, and please subscribe. Right. With that being said, let's look at the economic indicators. Now, the reason why it's good to look at the economic indicators, and let me just give you an idea of what that is. The bottom line is economic indicators tell us what manufacturers are actually doing. Are they having high inventory? Are they selling things? Are they behind in product? Are they backup orders? Things like that. Are consumers buying? Or what's consumers' credit? So these are types of indicators that are utilized to kind of like forecast what's coming down the road. And based on this, a lot of companies are saying, you know what? There is a slowdown. And to be honest with you, I definitely agree. And looking at the numbers, for example, manufacturing new orders on durable goods has declined. It went down by 2.1%, right? Let's look at some of the other indicators. For example, let's look at some of the total consumer credit outstanding. Now, this is interesting to know because, this just says how much consumers are using their basically credit cards and, debt, basically taking in debt. And I'm going to tell you now, it have increased tremendous amount. Is that a good thing? I don't think so, because what's happening is that a lot of people are going through their cash, like they're going through the greenbacks, right? Like, the Benjamins and $10 bills. And what they're using now, a lot of people are using, is credit cards. That's not a good thing, because if you've been watching, hopefully you've been paying attention. And by the way, this show, we talk about all these different things here on Four Faces because we are face of many different topics. That's why we call ourselves Four Faces, right? If you have noticed, is that what's been happening is that people are using up all of their liquid cash. Use up all their cash, and now they go into credit cards. But the bigger thing here is that the credit card ratings, credit card interest rates has been going up tremendous. They've been going up. So you got to watch it. We're talking about 16% all the way up to 29%. And I don't think it's going to get any better anytime soon. So you got to be careful about using those credit cards. With that being said, once again, here on Four Faces, please subscribe. We're going to keep coming back to you all the time. If we get anything in the pipeline as far as a high increase of unemployment in any private sector or even public sector. Keep in mind, we're also trying to find out if there's any type of layoffs that's coming down the pipeline in the private sector as well as the public. We're talking about state jobs, federal jobs, city jobs, local jobs as well. Now, I will say, before I go, last thing I'm going to say is that you're probably not going to see a massive amount of firing or layoffs right now, at least now, when it comes to public jobs, public sector jobs, like state, city, locale, stuff like that. And the reason for that is because number one, that's a bad look. You will not get reelected with that. So that's usually not the go-to thing, is to start laying on people. So that's not going to happen. And also keep in mind, we still have shortage of workers, so that's also playing a factor in there. So that will not happen. At least now, it's not likely to happen, even if the Federal Reserve increase the rates by 0.5%, which they expected to do, which is next month in February. With that being said, however, there's always that unexpected. There's always that, we just ain't got the money, blah, blah, blah. We're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to make sure that if this happens, you'll be the first to know, at least one of the first to know, I should say. And we will continually give you update on everything, progress that happening around the world as far as employment, jobs are concerned. With that being said, this is Four Faces. Please subscribe. Well, thank you.